Recently, I got into an argument with a friend and things got a bit intense. At the peak of my anger and my emotion, I just walked away. I left them standing there as I stomped off into the horizon. Now, people can say that removing yourself from an argument or fight can be a wise thing to do, but it wasn't what I did back then. It wasn't an I need a space, so I need to walk away kind of moment. It was slamming the door in their face to prove a point. And that was terrible. Hello, my darlings. Welcome to Tea O'Clock, where we drink tea and talk about life. Today, I have a sencha from Japan, which is ready to be poured into my fair cup. So let's get started. So at home, as a chronic overthinker, of course, I replay the scene in my head like a lunatic. I came up with every single excuse I could think of to justify my walking away. I was angry, standing there would just make me explode. I would say something rude. They didn't deserve to hear it. La 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 la. I thought I was standing up for myself. But did I really? Did I really stand up for myself by acting out in such a way? I was like a toddler who threw a tantrum because she couldn't get her way. After many hours of mulling over this, I realized that the reason for the argument didn't even matter. What matters was how I felt about it, how I felt about the argument. And in that moment, I felt shame. As a lifelong people pleaser, I had timed my worth to being good and being agreeable, being nice, all that. So when conflicts happened, when I realized that I had thoughts and needs that clashed with someone else's, I couldn't sit with the discomfort. I was so ashamed of my own thoughts and feelings. And even more than that, I was afraid of revealing them to others. So I got overwhelmed and couldn't cope. I couldn't correctly name them as shame and guilt, and I mislabeled them as anger and disappointment, which ultimately led to this whole walking away thing very dramatically, like I was Carrie Bradshaw. It was really dramatic. At home, this led to even more spiraling. I went further and further down this hole of shame and guilt, where I villainized my friend and victimized myself. This is what people pleasers do, by the way. We spend so much time suppressing our own feelings and thoughts and needs so that when they finally erupt, we don't know what to do with them. We make ourselves into the victim and the others, the villain, because this is the only way we know how to process our own thoughts and needs. We don't know how to communicate them without feeling like we are the bad person. For me, the only way I could process and handle this was for the other person to be wrong. I desperately tried to convince myself that I did right, that stomping off angrily, walking away angrily like that was the only correct way that I could do as a 32-year-old woman trying to prove my point. Ugh, it was so bad. Um, but deep down inside, I knew I made a mistake. I wanted to be vulnerable, but I didn't know how to. Years of people pleasing has taught me how to read other people's emotions, but not my own. After realizing that what I had felt was in fact shame and guilt and admitted them to myself, I wanted to apologize to my friend. So I reached out, I said sorry. I admitted that I behaved rudely and I wanted to repair the connection. And they graciously agreed because they were truly a good friend. So I was very thankful for that. So in this journey of recovering from people pleasing and relearning how to regulate my emotions and how to be vulnerable with others, here are the things that I've learned. So, where did the shame and guilt come from? I think it came from this sense of terror of not being accepted, no longer being seen in a favorable light. I didn't want to be the villain in someone else's story. I wanted to be the good one. I simply hated being wrong, not because I was necessarily afraid of the consequences of my wrongdoings, but because, again, like I didn't want to be seen as the bad guy. I didn't want to reveal the ugly parts of me. And I was also very afraid of not being able to rekindle the relationship because of my bad sides. At the core of it, I'm still this little child that learned that should she be wrong, she would be unlovable. By admitting that I was wrong, I was also publicly revealing to the world, admitting that I am flawed and imperfect. And that felt unbearable. But here's the thing, I am literally flawed and imperfect. Who isn't? We are not Barbie. We are made of flesh and bones. For so long, I had this pressure to never make a mistake. But by forcing myself to be right all the time, I also rob myself of the opportunities to learn and grow and to truly develop closeness with the people that I care about. I was so rigid in the standards I have for myself that I couldn't relax and be authentic. And when I really sat with this thought, I realized something. It's impossible to do right by everyone on earth all the time. It's literally impossible. Not because I shouldn't care about others. I do, I truly do, but it's because right to everyone looks different. Everybody's unique, right? Different wounds, different upbringings, different thoughts. To attempt this impossible mission to please everyone, do right by everyone, I would have to fake it. I would have to mold myself into something so fake, so inauthentic, walk on eggshells all the time, bent over backwards. It's unachievable. And that is not self love at all. That is not treating myself kindly. And if I argue that I was doing that for the sake of the people that I love, would I rather that they love me for who I really am, that I was truly there and theirs? Or would I rather that what they have of me is fake? How could I expect someone to truly love me in the way that I deserve by never showing them my real self, the flaws, the imperfect side, the ugly sides? Honestly, I think I would rather just be myself, say what I want, think what I want. And if I accidentally hurt someone along the way, I want to be able to apologize, be vulnerable, make amends, and then move on. Now, I'm not saying that I will act recklessly and selfishly, hurt people, and then just toss out a hollow I'm sorry from a place of self entitlement and expect everyone to forgive me. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is within my ethical and moral boundaries, and from a place of compassion for myself and others, I will allow myself the room to make mistakes. Like when I snap at my friend, for example, I can say, I'm so sorry, that wasn't fair to you. Instead of feeling like, oh, I'm a terrible person that ruins everything and everyone will leave me, I will allow myself the space to make mistakes, apologize sincerely without feeling like I'm fundamentally broken and unlovable. Being able to say sorry is satisfying and liberating. The words left my mouth, and I felt like in my chest something just lifted. Being a victim in my own story didn't make me feel good at all because it puts me into a position of powerlessness. I was just waiting in my own prison of bitterness for someone to come and save me. But no one could come and save me. I was the only one who could save myself because I'm the only one with the keys. I'm learning that vulnerability is not weakness and apologizing is not losing. This is not a race. We are not competing with each other. And admitting that I was wrong did not make me unlovable. It makes me human. Choosing truth over perfection humanity over performance is what radical self love looks like. I am not pretending that I'm flawless. I'm choosing to believe that I deserve love even when I'm not. And in doing so, I'm able to develop closeness and build an authentic connection without erasing myself. So, my darlings, if you are also feeling like you're tangled in a web of shame and self defense, I want you to hear me. You are allowed to make mistakes, you're allowed to apologize, welcome the feelings of shame and guilt, acknowledge them, but move through them. Don't victimize yourself and rob yourself of the power to do something that can change your life, that can help you build an authentic connection with others and with yourself. Feel, speak up, apologize when needed, repair when needed, and then finally, breathe. Thank you so much for tuning in. Lots of love from me to you.